Hi, Mary Beth with our 15th episode, and we are still on the fall series. So today, I'd like you to join me with a cup of tea. I've found some of my grandmother's tea set, and I've set up a little still life. I've taken a photo of it, and I've already got it sketched out. Looks easy? It's not, let me tell you. But you're going to take your time, and the most important part of this painting will be the drawing and getting that correct. I started with an 8x10 canvas, as always, and I heavily applied a sage green. And I chose that color because of the handle of the cup. I thought it would be a nice complement to the still life. And I mixed a sap green, kind of I would say it would be probably in your color kit, a kind of a darker green, and a lot of white. And I heavily applied that on there, gave it about 30 minutes. If you need to use the hair dryer to get it to dry, go ahead and do so. And you will have this printout to go by to make it easier for you. And the things I want you to concentrate on when you start sketching out your cup here, and again, you can use your paintbrush or a pencil, whatever you feel comfortable with, is I want you to really pay attention to the way things are lined up. And we always talk about the directions of things and how they go, and the positive and the negative space being the area behind the object. And if you can get those places that are the negative correct, that's going to really help you. Like for instance, in this handle, if you'll look at that space in between there, that's really important to get those curves correct. And you can see I've struggled somewhat with getting this correct because I started with just a blue in my sketch, and when I made mistakes, I went ahead and used that sage color that I had mixed up and just kind of painted over. You know, I'm figuring out things as I go. It's almost like I'm solving a puzzle. So you're going to pay attention to adjacencies and where things line up. For instance, this handle, it's not flat, it comes up and it goes down. So you're going to look to see where it lines up according to the cup and the plate. And as a rule, you can use your pencil or your paintbrush and get those angles correct. And line it up there, and then not moving it and bringing it on over. Same thing goes for the little tag from the tea bag. Lining that up according to, and just kind of placing your thumb and your forefinger, bringing that over, getting that correct, bringing it over. A lot of measurement, so where things line up, this handle lining up to the end of the plate, and then the spoon lining up there to this part of the plate. This negative shape right there, very important. Now if you'll notice, I've written ellipse. One of the most difficult things to achieve as an artist is to get the ellipse correct. The ellipse is a circle in perspective. So it's going to appear as it's going back into space. And basically all an ellipse is a flattened circle. And if you want to get a piece of scratch paper and practice your ellipses, that would be a very helpful thing, to be getting that correct, where you can just whip it out like that and just get these correct. You could do a whole page of just practicing your ellipses. Isn't that fun? So a lot of artists, you'll see they make the mistake where their ellipse, it doesn't quite go back flat. The key is to get the front part of your circle just a tad higher than your back. And you'll see a tilted perspective where you'll see the inside of a cup or vase. So, very important. I'm going to let you pause and catch up to me, and then we will get started. Okay, so I've got the sage green that I mixed up for my whole canvas, and I'm just going to go in with a little more white into my mixture and give myself another coat. And this I can still simplify some of my sketches that I had, my initial sketch. And again, I always start from the background. I have so much paint that's on there, it's really an interesting texture. It's gonna be fun to paint on. So, I am going to just show you a few tips of how to make this painting your own. And I will continue on my own as my assistant Adrienne shows you a different perspective. She's chosen a bird's eye view, which is the top view, looking down, a little more abstract in its appearance, but all the same, it's however you want to interpret the still life. It's your painting. You may want to zoom in, or you may want to pull back. You may even want to change the orientation of your canvas. Perhaps you want to make it in the landscape mode as opposed to the portrait mode. So, I'm going to mix up a cream color, and in order to do that, I've got white, cadmium yellow, and a little bit of brown, a little of the burnt umber. That's going to give me a pretty good cream, a little more white involved there. For the overall local color, basic color of my cup itself, I'm not concerned about the floral painterly detail on the cup itself. Those are the things I save for the last. So I'm just painting the local color. Pretty good application. Noticing the inside of the cup. And I'm just going to hit a little bit of ultramarine blue, and I had already mixed up a little bit of violet. You may have just a straight violet, but you remember that red and blue make violet to give just the cast and shadows in here. A little bit water and drying out. I'm enjoying having a nice cup of tea before I go to bed. Herbal tea, helping me relax. Softly hitting those hard edges as I blend wet into wet, taking advantage of my wetness and working quickly. Pull off. And give a little local color to my saucer. Add the water when it dries out. As I did the initial sketch and then my sketch on the canvas here, I came to realize that the most important part of this particular little painting is the drawing. And much so for any painting, really. But you want to make sure that everything is in its right place. Get some of that shadowing. Noticing the shadow up underneath the spoon. And as the spoon bends up, comes up, see that? And part of the saucer, back here. Your saucer is also an ellipse. Very important that you have that feeling as it's going back into space. You don't want it tilting up and then it looks like maybe I don't have mine correctly lined up, but those are all things I will do off camera. Paintings are always evolving and changing. And notice that nice shadow up underneath. I've got mine a little violet. I'm having fun with the colors, kind of exaggerating my colors. And then the end of that spoon, softening up as it comes around to the edge of the shadow. Making sure that I've got all my places covered before I start going into that detailed part. I, as a rule, don't like to use black, but I'm going to mix up a gray. And I've got ivory black with my white for this spoon. And I'm just gonna do my local color all over, the basic color. Then I'll come in with my highlights, my reflections. That end of that spoon is, you want to make sure you get that going back into space. So you're going to line up your pencil or your paintbrush and get that correct. And bring it on over. Yeah. I'm getting that highlight on there to show the dimension. It's going to be real important right there. All the way down. Just a little bit of the tea in there. I've got a burnt sienna that I'm going to mix with white, and I'm going to keep that very fluid. A lot more water. And I'm just going to lightly put it in as it goes around the tea bag. Got a harder edge as it goes around. I'm just going to outline that. Pull off my paint, a little water. Soften that edge. A little tag on my tea bag there, get the local color. This is very rough. I'm going to do a lot of detailing, a lot of refinement with a thin brush off camera so we can show you Adrian's approach. I want you to take your time. Don't be stressed out. That's all I can tell you. It's a very simple thing to look at and think, oh, that looks like an easy thing to paint, but once you get into it, you'll see the things that I'm talking about once you get into it. But I really want you to just pay attention to the way things are lining up, the negative space, and the adjacencies. So that's the most important thing, and I hope that you are enjoying this painting session as much as I am, and I will see you again next week. Thank you.